Hey there, and welcome to my channel, The Paper Bag Investor. In my last video, I think I alarmed some of my viewers by doing a Dogecoin video and sharing that I bought a tiny amount of the crypto coin. And in this video, I want to clarify my thoughts on Dogecoin, Bitcoin, crypto assets in general, and help you understand if they are a good investment for you or not. So I'm going to be sharing my general thoughts on crypto assets as investments, also my thoughts on gold and whether it's a good investment, and then my thoughts and thinking on companies versus these kind of asset classes and which I would rather own. And my thoughts on these things are evolving over time, but I hope these thoughts help you understand asset classes better and evolve and improve your own thinking in these areas. And if you haven't seen that previous video on Dogecoin, I encourage you to watch it as well. I will link it down below in the description. So let's get into it. But before I go any further, I just want to make it absolutely clear, I'm not a personal financial advisor, just a guy with a paper bag on his head who loves investing and thinking about the future. If you love investing and you love thinking about the future just like me, I encourage you to hit that subscribe button and follow along with my channel as it grows. Become a better investor with me, refine your thinking as I refine my own thinking and share my thoughts and investments with you guys. But today's video, my general thoughts on crypto assets as investments. Like I said in my last video, I strongly believe that blockchain-related assets are here and are here to stay. And I'm calling these kind of blockchain-related things crypto assets. And note that I'm using the word assets, not currency, because whether cryptocurrencies will catch on as an everyday currency that we're using every single day to exchange back and forth, I'm not entirely sure of. I think that's likely and probably probable, but I'm not entirely sure about it. But in the sense that they will exist and continue to exist as assets that are storing value, I'm very, very positive that this will be the case. And again, I'm talking about things like crypto coins. I also gave in the video, that Dogecoin video, an example of something called NBA Top Shot, which is basically the ability to own NBA highlights, and it's backed by a blockchain. And just to touch on Dogecoin, the reasons I said in the previous video on why Dogecoin could go higher remain the same for me. Again, it could go higher, I think, just because it's funny and has incredible branding that makes it spread rapidly and grow. 2, Elon Musk is going to become more and more famous and influential, and he likes Dogecoins and thinks it's funny and draws attention to it. And 3, it has limited inflation rate, which helps people spread it and actually use it more, maybe as an actual currency, but it has a sort of a fixed inflation rate that will decrease as a percentage over time. So I think Dogecoin could actually be a good investment, and just sort of dipping my toes in again that cryptocurrency to learn more about it. And you could argue that Bitcoin has large growth ahead of it as well, because it is the first mover in the crypto space. It's the most famous and known crypto asset, and also because there's a fixed or limited supply of Bitcoin that will eventually just be a fixed amount. So, and it's in a way, it's similar to gold or even other assets like baseball cards or collector's items, that the more rare they are, the better store of value they are. And I want to give you my thoughts actually on gold, because I think gold is so similar to Bitcoin in a way. It's sort of, Bitcoin's being described as the digital gold. So whether gold is a good investment, I'm in a similar camp to Warren Buffett on gold, and at least what Warren Buffett historically has been in that camp. And when you look at gold, it's obviously has intrinsic uses in manufacturing various products. It also makes nice jewelry. We use it for jewelry, so it has these kind of intrinsic values. But we have more gold mined and in reserves than we would actually need for those uses. For those value streams alone I'm talking about, the manufacturing and the jewelry, the price of gold is not justifiable given the available supply is so large. So it's an example of an asset that holds its value simply because the collective markets and people decide it is valuable. And I don't think that's a bad thing, because, again, gold is rare and difficult to obtain. It makes it a good way to store this potential energy that I'm calling, or this potential value. And I'm just not sure it's the best the best investment, as it is arguably doesn't create any fundamental human good. It stores value because it's rare, but it doesn't actually provide food or clothing or shelter or time savings for us as humans. It's just literally a gold mineral formed into gold bricks sitting in reserve somewhere. So the same goes, or my thinking goes, for crypto assets. They have this intrinsic value because they run on blockchain, which means they're highly secure and can be very, very rare, especially something like Bitcoin that has a fixed amount. And the security it offers in itself is a good reason why it could be a great store of value. And I want to emphasize again that these kind of investments I see akin to owning baseball cards or rare art or gold. They could be great investments. It just all depends on the circumstances. And the key with these assets that store value is that they are rare and hard to come by. The more rare they are, but still collectively valued by mankind or humanity, the better a store of value they will be, and the higher the increase, the better the likelihood that they could increase over time. And finally, I want to share with you my thoughts on companies versus these kinds of assets, Bitcoin, gold, Dogecoin, etc., which I would rather own. So if you're looking at investment, I like to look at the intrinsic value of it going forward into the future. If you're looking at a company, you can clearly evaluate the good it could do or bring to its customers or the world, and then quantitatively value that worth of the company in the future to what it's worth now today. For example, if you look at a farm, the land on the farm, you know that you can buy this plot of land. It's going to be worked and planted and cared for, and seeds are grown to produce a harvest and return, and you could judge future returns of the farm and evaluate an intrinsic value today. And you can really quantitatively boil that down to the pure value of what that farm could be, the baseline value. Similarly, a company can be viewed to produce some kind of good or service that helps its customers and the world around it. They literally create some good that wasn't there before. So in my mind, if you want my opinion, I would much rather hold companies that clearly create that human need and that irrefutable value, I'm calling it, rather than gold or a baseball card or an NBA Top Shots or a crypto asset. I know that if I owned a farm or a mine or something that was producing some value, or a manufacturing plant that produced some good, or a good that was valued by people, I know that that's going to produce that thing that we as humans absolutely need and value. And with that carries this baseline investment and strength. This is why I'm heavily invested in companies themselves and not asset bases like Dogecoin or Bitcoin or gold. Though I do have to admit, I'm still learning about, and I find blockchain-run crypto assets interesting as they are very secure and they're very rare, which is the two properties for a value-storing asset that really could make it increase over time. But what are your thoughts on this? Would you rather own $1 million worth of Bitcoin, for example, or $1 million of the greatest company in the world that's going to have future cash flows ahead of it? I'd love to hear from you on this. And if you got value out of this video, I encourage you to hit that subscribe button down below, share this with somebody else who might enjoy it, and while you're at it, hit the thumbs up. Helps me out, helps my channel grow. Okay, I appreciate you all for watching, and I'll see you in my next video.